Today we are propagating pothos. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you're new here, hi, welcome, I'm Patrick and I love plants. In today's video, we're talking about pothos and how to propagate it. I'm going to propagate it in 3 different ways. I'm going to propagate it in water, I'm going to propagate it straight into soil. I'm also going to be propagating it straight into soul soils, which is a new soil that's peat-free. It's an awesome, chunky houseplant blend, and I'm excited to try it out. What we know today as the pothos is actually an epipremnum. It is Epipremnum aureum. The Epipremnum aureum is a popular houseplant all over the world, but in certain areas like the tropics and subtropics, it can be considered invasive because of how adaptable it is. Like, one of the nicknames for the pothos is also the devil's ivy because of its ability to stay green despite being in the dark. You'll often find pothos as decoration in offices, shopping malls, and homes because of how easy it is to upkeep. It's very low maintenance. I'm going to show you today just how easy it is to propagate the pothos. These have been known to overtake and obliterate some ecosystems because if these don't have any natural predators, this thing will just overtake a space and grow, especially in the tropics. I'm going to be using pothos and Epipremnum aureum interchangeably throughout this video. Epipremnum aureums are a naturally trailing vine, or if given a support, it will definitely climb. To propagate these things, what's essential are these nodes. The nodes are where the aerial roots and the leaves are coming out of. These are the nodes. These nodes are where new roots and leaves can grow out of, and these nodes are key to propagating pothos. I've been growing this neon pothos inside my Mars Hydro grow tent, and why I've been doing that is because the humidity is high enough that it encourages aerial roots to grow out of the nodes, making propagating way easier. And with spring coming up, I think now is the perfect time to show you guys how I propagate my pothos, because it's the perfect time to trim and prune this thing too. And it's actually perfect that I have multiple vines to cut up, because I'm going to do an experiment where I put some cuttings straight in soil, I'm going to put some in soul soils, and then I'm also going to propagate a couple cuttings in water and see which ones do best. To propagate pothos, you'll need a few tools. You'll need a pair of clean scissors, a pot of fresh soil, and in this case, I also have my bag of soul soils, which I can't wait to open. I'm gonna put that in here, and a cup or jar of water for the water propagations. See this right here where my scissors are pointing? That is the node. That is where the aerial root is going to come out of. Now again with my finger, those are where the aerial roots are going to come out of. First, you'll want to find a healthy stem on your pothos plant and cut with your clean scissors right below the node. Now, it's important to use clean scissors because, now it doesn't look clean, but it is, I promise. It's important to use clean scissors to prevent the spread of disease. So you want to sterilize your scissors. You can do that with fire, rubbing alcohol, whatever you have. But it's important to use clean scissors just to get your pothos cutting off to the right start. Next, you'll want to place the cutting in a cup of water. You could place this on a sunny windowsill, or in my case, I'm going to put it back into the Mars Hydro grow tent where it gets plenty of good light. You should start to see roots growing from the node within a few weeks, maybe 2 weeks or so. Then you're going to want to transition your cuttings into soil when the roots are at least 1 inch long, or when the roots start branching out and growing auxiliary roots from the main root. And that's when you know you can transplant it into the soil. Since I have my pothos growing in the Mars Hydro grow tent, the aerial roots tend to grow pretty long, so that's why I want to try placing the cuttings directly into soil. See how the aerial roots on this pothos are nice and somewhat long, so that's why I want to try putting it directly into the soil. Again, locating the healthy stem on the pothos, and you're going to cut just below the node, and you'll basically be following the same instructions when your water propagations have enough roots to plant into soil. So I'm going to poke a hole into the soil and place the cutting directly into it and just cover the roots like so. And you'll basically be repeating those steps until your pot looks a little fuller like this. Ziggy approves. And now for the Soul Soils that I'm really excited to try. I really fell in love with Soul Soils and their mission statement at TPIE. I love that they are peat-free and are adding an awareness to the sustainability issues that surround mining for peat. If you want a more detailed description on why it's bad for the environment, then check out my video from TPIE where I named the coolest things that I saw there. I'll put the link in the description below. Their mix is great because another thing that I hate are fungus gnats, and their chunky houseplant mix is an undesirable environment for fungus gnats, so you won't have that problem with this. Let's open it. Oh, it smells really good. Just look at the chunky goodness. Ooh, look at that aerial root. Nice and long. Now, because it's so chunky, the best way for me to do this was to fill the pot halfway with the Soul Soils, place my cuttings in there, and situate them, and then cover them some more with some more Soul Soils. And then all you'll need to do is just water it from the top so that it soaks nicely. And I'm actually going to keep it in this saucer of water so that it stays nice and moist because of how chunky it is. It'll basically be like semi-hydro for now, but once the roots are nice and developed, I can let it dry out some more because pothos do like to dry out. The chunky soil is great because if your plants are prone to root rot, then I suggest this Soul Soils because it's awesome. It's very draining, and aeroids love it. They'll love a good chunky mix. It's gonna look like this. Now I'm gonna put this along with my soil propagations and my water propagations inside the Mars Hydro Grow Tent, and that is basically how you propagate pothos. Ooh, sometimes you'll end up with a leafless node like these three, and since I'm feeling experimental, I'm just gonna cut these nodes, and lay them on top of the soil like this, and have the roots facing down into the soil, and see what that does. And then I'm gonna do this one. See, this is where the aerial root would have been. So I'm gonna place that aerial root down into the pot and see what that does. And because it's so humid in the grow tent, it's basically gonna be like one big prop box. I'm excited to try this out. Now my original pothos looks so beautiful and happy, and I can't wait to see what growth it puts out in the coming growing season. And I have 3 more plants. And you can do this indefinitely. Like, you can this can go on for infinity. I technically have an endless supply of neon pothos for the rest of my life, and you can too. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I had a lot of fun, I hope you did too, and if you liked this video, you know what to do. Please throw me a bone and give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my plant videos, come plant shopping with me, or propagate some plants with me. Hit that subscribe button. I can't wait to see you in the next video. I just don't want to miss you too much, so if you could show me some love in the comments and I'll meet you there. Bye!
Ocean in between us, still I feel your heartbeat. There's something about you, baby, that makes me feel complete. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, no. Coming back for your time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you.